Welcome back to the channel, old friends, and hello to the new ones. It's time for a Pupdate on our little guy Jax here, our German short-haired pointer that we brought home around 2 months ago with hope of turning into our duck dog, and we may even end up doing some upland hunting and field trial stuff with him as well. That's one of the great things about this breed is they're just so versatile. This little guy's been growing like a weed since you saw him last in episode 1, and if you haven't seen that episode, definitely go check it out. He's done really well with his obedience training thus far and has really shown a willingness to learn and to at least like attempt to behave, but you know, he's a puppy. Now, if you remember from the first episode, the cats weren't too fond of the little guy, and that hasn't necessarily changed over the past couple of months, but it's improving and they're learning to tolerate each other a little bit. Honestly, the biggest struggle we have is just when the cat's turn to leave, Jax's prey drive kicks in and he wants to chase them, and we haven't found a really good way to combat that yet, but we're working on it with the leash and treats and rewarding him for when he does well. So it's a process, but we're getting there. Like I said earlier, he still has that puppy streak in him. Obviously, he's only 16 weeks old now, but here's a video of him somehow snatching our phone and managing to turn on the camera and record it, so those things happen. Here he is about 9 weeks old. We've been working a whole lot with him on retrieving bumpers, and he's always really excited to go get them. He's just not always really excited to bring them back at this point. He would do it flawlessly with his toys, but he understood that the bumpers were something special, and he was a lot less willing to let us get in a position where we could take it away from him. So we've worked really hard on getting him to understand that like the game continues if you bring it back, and we're not just gonna snatch it away from you. And here he is at around 15 weeks. He's gotten a whole lot better. You can see we're throwing the bumpers in the backyard, and he's always willing to go snatch them. Right here, he gets distracted by the sprinklers turn on in the neighbor's yard, but even with that, he still turns around and brings it back, and that's like really good. That's such a huge step. I'm not gonna say he does this flawlessly all the time, but like he's now at a position where we can throw it and he brings it back the majority of the time and knows that we're not just gonna snatch it for him. So that's kind of important. If he's gonna go out and get a duck, you know, you want him to bring it back to you. This is right around 9 weeks again. There's nothing really to say about this one other than we were just trying to show off that like his pointing instinct is there from such a young age. You know, it's all we did is tie a feather to or tie a wing to a fishing rod, and then you know you play a little hard to get and then eventually he'll kind of point at it, and it was really cool. It was just cute to watch him do it. We also went out and picked up a dog blind, and we thought it may be a good idea to get him used to using it and spending some time in it from a young age, since he'll be spending a good number of hours in one. So we've worked quite a bit with him, you know, placing in his dog blind, but it did not take long for the cats to decide that this new toy was their toy. So we had to end up kind of taking it up because it caused a couple spats. They couldn't decide who had right to the blind, so we pull it out now when we actually need it. Another pretty important aspect of a duck dog is their willingness to get into the water. So here he is right around 8 weeks old. We bought this little kiddie pool from Walmart, and we introduced him to water this way, since at this point we didn't really have access to any ponds or larger bodies of water. One of the stigmas around German short-haired pointers, at least that keeps coming up to me, is that sometimes they're just not very fond of water. And as you can see here at the start, he wasn't so sure of it.
Go. Yes, good boy. Good boy.
But it didn't take long, and he started getting in the pool by himself, getting his feet wet, and then later we were able to fill the pool a little bit more so that it kind of got to like the bottom of his belly, and he would go in and get his toys out and go in and chase grass and do, I don't know, puppy things, you know, things that puppy do. But he was getting in by himself, and we were really excited about it. And then here we are, maybe 7 weeks later, 5, 6, 7 weeks later, I don't remember. And we heard a ruckus while we were sitting in our living room, him barking. And so we rushed to the window, see what the heck's going on, because it was a high-pitched bark. And yeah, he was playing in the swimming pool. And he spends a lot of time, we live in Texas and it's 90 plus degrees out here. So it's great that he loves this because he gets in there, he cools off, he has a blast. And pretty much every time that we go to the door to let him back inside, he's soaking wet. Up to this point, all Jax had really been exposed to in the way of terrain was a mowed lawn. So we decided it was time to get him out to stretch his legs and smell the flowers a bit, as you can see here. And he ended up having the time of his life. Obviously, we were in like a strange place and there was a ton of acreage. So we had to keep him on his check cord so he didn't get away from us. But that didn't keep him from sprinting around and jumping through the tall grass. And most excitingly, checking out a pond that we found on the property.
Good boy, buddy. Yeah, good boy. Jack's a good boy. Hey. Good boy, buddy. Good boy.
At this point, he was having fun, he was getting praised for it, and he lost his ever-loving mind. So every bit of water that we went up to or we took him by, he had to crawl in it. And he would get out to his chest. He got pretty deep, and he never like swam because we had him on the check cord, but we were really excited about the progress.
Go on, buddy.
This is where he discovered that one of his favorite things to do in water is apparently completely submerge his head and blow bubbles. So here's him blowing bubbles. I don't know what that's about. At the end of the day, it was hot. We had spent several hours out there, so we ended with a drink, and he got a really long nap in. This dude was sleeping hard. Here he is doing pretty well with the cats. I wish we had video. I mean, usually we were too busy running around trying to pull him back from chasing the cats. But here he is doing really well, making improvements, even if Mac, our cat, doesn't think so. A few weeks later, we got the opportunity to go up to Oklahoma, kind of up in the mountains, and get him exposed to some more, different types of terrain, and there's a big river that runs through here and all. So here's some pretty shots of us on our way up there. We stayed in a cabin, which was a new place for him. So at this age, it's really all about exposing him to new people, places, things, and we were really trying to do our best to do that with him. As you saw a minute ago, obviously this isn't his first introduction to water that's not a kiddie pool at this point, but it was his first introduction to moving water, which apparently is something that can freak dogs out a little bit, but he took it in stride. One of the things about him that's probably a pro and a con is that he's pretty fearless, so a lot of the times we have to kind of watch him and follow him around and keep him from hurting himself, because dude will just jump off of anything, jump into anything. Right here we have 2 dogs that he met at the cabins out there, and they were really good dogs. They put up with him. They had to put him in his place a time or two, but one thing they did do was teach him to play with rocks, which kind of sucks a little bit. But here is the view of the river where we stayed, man. It was absolutely beautiful. He got to play around. We got to play around. It was just, all in all, was a great weekend. He even got his first ride in a UTV, but at this point he was so tired. He just wanted to be held, so we brought him back, and your boy got a big old nap in because he plays hard. All right, so a little update as far as what Jax can do. I know that I said I was going to do it weekly, but weekly didn't really make sense after a while because it's a slow process. Even though we're still kind of working on the same things, we're working on trying to get him to do well in different places and just do things really consistently. So we'll see if he'll listen out here right now. If we do it in the house, he'll do it flawless. But I want to test it with him out here just because there's so many more distractions. He's losing his mind. He was just playing in the swimming pool. We just did some bumpers, which I might throw one or two from here in a second. But we'll see if we can show you what we've been working on, which has been here, place, and sit have been the big things. And I think the next step for him, and we've been working on, on heel, on the leash and that kind of stuff. But the next step for him is going to be the e-collar, which we're kind of nervous about. But that's the next logical step for him. But let's see what we can get him to do. Jax, come here. Here. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. He's really hungry right now, too. Sit. Hey, Jax. Jax. Hey. Jax, here. Good boy. Good boy. Sit. 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 Sure. Hey, hey. Sit. Jax. Sit. 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 Okay. Good boy. Good boy. So you can see we've kind of gotten away lately from using the clicker and stuff. We're just kind of doing physical praise, which he really responds really well to. And then just and then just our voices. Jax. Jax. Hey. Here. Jax. Here. Give me this. Too distracting. Hey. Jax. Here. Hey. Good boy. Place. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. This has been the gist of it, but it's just consistency, working it over and over. And we work him 2-3 times a day, every day just about. But you're seeing him right now at his worst because he is hyper. He's been not really, we bring him to work with us and he stays behind the desk at our office and he's been clammed up all day. So he's excited to be out and about. Jax. Jax. Hey, buddy. And this is what the e-collar is good for, and we're going to use it on vibrate to start with anyways. But it's just kind of like a little tap on the shoulder that says, hey, dude. Hey, Jax. We're still working. Here. Just like that. Good boy. Good boy. Hey, Jax. Buddy. Buddy. Hey, heel. 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 Heel ain't gonna happen. Sit. Place. Here. Good boy. Good boy. Anyways, that's the extent of it. And I think that next we're really gonna work to the e-collar and vibrate. See how he responds to that. He goes to his formal training in like 4 weeks. So little guy's growing quick. He's been a real good dog so far. We've got him, and you've seen the footage, or you'll see the footage. I don't know where this is going in the video, but we've gotten him introduced to water and a whole bunch of different stuff lately. So that's really cool, and he's doing really, really well. And I hope you guys are enjoying the updates. And if you are, please make sure to subscribe. I'd appreciate it a lot. And we'll update you on the next one, how the e-collar stuff's going.